Hello again, everyone. This is PC Delta Link, back with our Enigmatica 2 Let's Play Normal Mode. This is episode 29. Alright, so I had left off, I had done an episode 28.5. I had done a sort of, kind of preview showing you some of the changes we've been doing around our base for the Applied Energistics. We're still working through some of those changes. We're still doing a lot of additions to the base, but I just want to go ahead and show you guys what we've got going so far. So yeah, I have not quite moved these yet. I might do that this episode, we'll see. But I'm going to end up having to do a whole new setup for those. One thing I will need is we're going to take this with us, because the time has come to finally show you guys one of the big cosmetic things that I've been working on. Is I've been doing... I'm gonna adjust that music real quick. I feel like that's a little loud. Knock it down to 40%. Okay. I said that I had been working on a big cosmetic project for a while now, and that project is, for the moment, complete. And it is the area where our laser drills are. You may remember in the past it's been kind of a very... I'm not sure, just a very basic and bland cave, and the ceiling wasn't even finished in some places, and it was like almost touching the drills, and yeah, it just didn't look all that good. But I have now finished the place for now, so I'm gonna take you to it, and I'm gonna look down at the floor for when we go over there. That way you don't see it right away. Okay. So here is the drill cave. Here's our grand reveal. So I hope you all like this. Yes, we are under the ocean. That is a glass ceiling under the ocean there. Here's our 3 drills. So we've completely emptied out the entire cave, and yes, I've been building it underwater this whole time. Sharp-eyed people would have seen the roof of this in the previous episode, and I'll take you to where a better view of that is later, but I'm just going to go through this real quick. So, I knew I wanted, of course, our small bricks for our chiseled bricks. Yes, there is painted glowstone in here. That's why, if you look, there is not a single torch to be found anywhere in here. All this is without torches. So we knew we wanted some sort of pillar in the corner. So we went with this marble pillar texture from Raw Marble with the chisel mod. We also did arrayed bricks just for another type of texture. At first we had, this is, in the corner, this texture design is chiseled lapis, but they're actually glowstone. Because I realized after I had them all in there, and you know, with all these pillars, it was a decent amount of lapis that took. But anyway, I realized I could just use the texture of this and paint glowstone and still get the texture, but not use up our lapis. So yeah, all those lapis gold blocks are actually painted glowstone in all 4 corners. These pillars on the sides and whatnot, these were kind of a later addition where I decided I just wanted something more along the wall than what I currently had. And so these are marble pillars from Astral Sorcery. And it says painted glowstone. Yes, all these blocks in the middle and whatnot are painted glowstone, but this is ruined marble is the texture and the block it's based off of. So again, more glowstone just to keep the walls very well lit. This is poison chiseled stone. So, from cooked cobblestone. So again, just more... I'd kind of decided late that I wanted to do something with the floor, at least kind of make it look slightly different in some places. And you see we kind of added a bit of it here and there. And yes, all of the poison blocks are textured glowstone in the rest of the floor. We have a couple pieces of glowstone here and there that aren't the poison ones, but most of these are all... Every piece of poison block you see in the floor is actually glowstone to keep providing light to this area. And our drills, you can see, we've taken out our void resource miner here. We had it mining a void resource miner here, which was getting mica for us. Because you might remember I said we needed that for some of the upgrades for these drills later. We now have, I believe, enough of that for the rest of this playthrough, honestly. We have about 3 stacks of it, which is honestly way more than I probably do need. So we went ahead and just replaced this with another void ore miner, tier 1. We threw a, I think we put magenta lens on it. Yeah, we did. So you can see this is working quite nicely, getting some erodium and litherite. And then we have this one, which I believe this one's still on green. Yeah. So this one's focusing on litherite. And then this one, you notice it's bigger. We have upgraded one of these to tier 2, and we're going to go through that process with you guys for another one. But I wanted to start gathering some of the tier 3 crystals in the meantime. So I opted to go ahead and upgrade our first one here. So these are the tier 3 crystals, chironite. And they are gotten with a purple laser lens, is a higher chance for them. And that's also why we have more draconium here, is because draconium's also under the purple lens umbrella. But these have our first modifiers. I had said that higher tier drills, like there's none over here, but higher tier drills have some modifiers you can put in. And if you don't have any, it's just a null modifier you use in the construction. But we have actually put 2 speed modifiers into this drill structure to allow it to mine things even faster than it was. So that's partially why we're going to have as much of the stuff as we do have. I'm going to show you the recipe for these, because they're not super expensive. 4 blocks of redstone, a null modifier, there's 2 mica, erodium crystal, Lawn's Delight, which I'll show you that recipe. It's pretty cheap. It's just 4 black quartz around a litherite crystal, so that's very easy to make. Then the null modifier is just an interconnect, which we've seen those before. So glass, any glass, and then 4 iron in the interconnect. And the interconnect is, yeah, I'm not going to go into all this again, but you've seen those before. So yeah, that's all there is to that. Now this thing, these speed modifiers, I have 2 of them. You can have up to 4. I can't afford to have 4 currently. But with 2 of them, I believe I'm running about 5,000 RF per tick. So I'll have to look at my base real quick at our induction matrix. As soon as I finish a little bit more briefly on this. So the glass ceiling under the ocean, I had originally had this as quite clear glass, and I decided I actually didn't like it. I decided I liked the texture of the normal glass here, giving the roof a bit of variety and pattern to it, even if it's a fairly repeating pattern. You might also note carefully that there is some quite clear glass blocks attached to the ceiling, like there's one right here, or there. Those are actually also painted glowstone, painted to look like clear glass, so to provide more light for the ceiling. Originally, I had them painted as just the normal glass and embedded in the ceiling, and it actually looked really tacky, and you could see them from across the room. These quite clear glass, you really can't see them too closely unless you're looking for them. Their lines fairly well blend in with the textures up there. But see, there's in the corner of these pyramids, you can see one on each floor. There is a painted glowstone that is a normal glass block, and you can see the side of it. I'm kind of moving the mouse over it, and that was sticking out when they were over here. It's less noticeable on the pyramid because they turn. But yeah, so we decided to put 1 pyramid over each drill, and it's lined up with the dead center of every drill. And then we had a 4th one down here just for... I could add another drill down here. For future plans for this room, I may at some point consider adding like a smelting area for it to automatically process whatever it digs up. I'd considered having like a balcony structure over here, and stuff would get piped over here and whatnot. And I may still do that. That might still happen, but I'll be honest with you, I don't want to know how much time I spent on this room. I spent digging it out and then texturing all the walls, and then I went back through and decided I didn't like where the glowstone was arrayed on the wall, so I dug out all the glowstone along the walls and redid it. And yeah, it's just... And I'm going to drop the brightness here. I prefer to usually play with the game on pretty bright settings, but I'm going to drop it down to the lowest setting real quick, and you can see much more clearly where all the glowstone is in the walls. You can also see it on the ceiling much better as well. Yeah, but this is a safe room. All the spawn spots are covered, but when it's booty lighting, it's really very dark in here. So yeah, you can see I have kind of a regular pattern in all the sections for the glowstone and how I had it set up. Before it was just kind of scattered everywhere, so I had to dig it all out and replace it all yesterday. And yeah, we have some on the ceiling just to accentuate certain parts of the ceiling. And then the glowstone on the floor. So you know, overall, I'm very happy with this. This is one of the biggest cosmetic projects I've ever done, for sure. And estimates on the time it took me to do this, and granted survival difficulty, probably, I'd say over 6 hours to 6 to 10 hours easily. I didn't exactly keep great track, but it would probably not be a stretch to say at least 10 hours, to be honest. With the drills merrily chugging away the whole time. Now, we're going to go through another thing I created to help do this real quick. And also where you can see this from other parts of our base. I had this actually set up right off the bridges. So there's the structure. And see, I built it to where you could see it from the bridge up here if you were running across. So yeah, there's the drill room. So, one of the things that I had to do for this is I had to work underwater to build that glass ceiling. And that was a huge pain in the butt, I'll have you know. But we created a ring to help with that. Now, what was funny is I spent the first, like, couple hours probably, like, going down to the bottom where the ceiling of this place is, going back to the surface for air, going back down, going back to the surface, just over and over again. And I don't know why it took me so long to realize this, but finally after about an hour, hour and a half of that, I was like, wait a second, this is modded Minecraft. There's got to be something that lets me breathe underwater in this game. And there is. Now, I ended up making this off screen, but I'm going to show you the recipe. This is a Britannia ring, the Ring of Cordata. And this actually is not terribly expensive. It's a rune of water, which we've made this before, mana steel, a raw salmon, and a pufferfish. And Britannia actually has a way to get those fish if you don't have them. So I'm going to show you this. This is an alchemy catalyst, which you can use this to transform certain blocks into other blocks using mana. So I'm going to show you the recipe for this, because this is also not terribly expensive. And it's 2 brewing stands, a mana pearl, gold, and some living rock. So this just goes under a mana pool. And you see the texture shows up in the mana pool, which lets you know you can use it for alchemy. And why that's important is for raw salmon, if you look over here at mana infusion, you can take just a normal raw fish, throw it in here with the alchemy catalyst, and you get the raw salmon. And then for the raw pufferfish, you can do the same thing, only with a clownfish. But you can get a clownfish from a salmon. So really, all I had to do is catch 2 fish, and it was able to get me both the fish I needed for this ring. And what this ring does exactly, because it does more than just let me breathe underwater. I'm going to jump on in here. So here you'll get kind of a look at our ceiling from the outside, underwater. And it's decently far down, you notice. We have to go a decent amount of way. But this is our movement speed underwater, and our vision sucks down here, and you see we're pretty quickly running out of air. And we're going to start taking some damage here. Yeah. So, that's without this ring equipped. Watch what happens when I do equip this ring. So it gives us a little bit of night vision, and we can see things further away. If you look here in a second, our air's about to run out, but it will automatically be replenished. There we go. And now look at our movement speed underwater with this ring on. It is absolutely insane how quick we can move with this ring underwater. We can probably move with it quicker than on land. So yeah, it's actually hard to control almost. It takes a sec for you to stop when you're like this, but... So yeah, eventually this is the ring I used to keep working down here and to finish this place off. Yeah, there's painted glowstone right there. And to finish the roof on this. And it was so much easier once I could breathe underwater. You can see up here we have our ornate steel glass to give kind of a reinforced look for the edges of the room where the glass is. The reason this quite clear glass is here along the side is if you look, like these pillars are 1 block away from the wall and they're under the, I think it's mosaic stone is the name of that stone texture right there. The water was actually dripping through. You know how liquids will drip through 1 block if they're exposed to air? If they have a liquid above them. So like the stone texture was exposed to the water, and the water was actually dripping through because it was only 1 block thick right there. So this quite clear glass is simply in place so that there's no dripping effects inside. So yeah, we have an arrayed brick up here, and yeah, we have the ornate steel kind of come to an end right there. And so yeah, I'm really happy with this, and I hope you guys like it as well, because I spent quite a lot of time on building that. Anyway, back to the base. Oh yes, and I should note, although the Greater Band of R has been plenty for me, but like the Sojourner Sash, this ring does take mana to operate. So you will have to keep a mana tablet in your inventory, or wear a band of mana, or something along those lines, but you'll have to have a supply of mana to keep that thing running. Okay, we've kind of gone on this long enough, so I'm going to show you more of what we've been doing with Applied Energistics, because I have been upgrading this some more since you last saw it. Oh yeah, and here's our... Yeah, we're outputting 5 to 6k per tick right now, on average. So we are going to upgrade this, possibly in this episode, but I've still got a bit more to show you guys first. So yeah, this induction matrix, we're going to need better income energy, because you'd already seen in the last episode with our smeltery running up there, we were using about 25k per tick, which is our gas burning generator is only putting out about 8,000, 9,000, somewhere in there, so we can't afford that long term. Alright, but anyway, moving on. Down to the main area. So this ring has been finished. I had said I was going to finish this 7x7 ring of ME controllers. I have. I could expand this later if I needed to. For right now, it's perfectly fine. So, and you can see we've got 2 sections set up currently with our dense smart cable. We got these P2P tunnels, which we are going to go into those in this episode, even though they're kind of complicated. We have our storage drives moved down here now. I don't know if they were before or not. So those are down here now. Our room with assembling has gotten a bit bigger. We've gotten more ME interfaces, more molecular assemblers in here. Most of these have a decent amount of recipes in them. Some of them are buried under in the middle and whatnot, but most of these are getting kind of full too. So yeah, you can see we had a lot of recipes to teach these. That one's empty. This one's empty too. And yeah, and the one in the middle under there is full of recipes as well. We went ahead and added another crafting CPU, so we have 2 now. And this also has a crafting co-processing unit, which I'll pull that up. Here we go. It's just one of those crafting units that we made before, along with an engineering processor, so not super expensive. This thing's kind of higher because it requires 2 calculation and a logic processor. But overall, not terribly expensive. And what this does, I think, if I'm understanding it right, how this thing works is basically if you order 2 crafting operations at once, and there's 2 valid places for the system to work through it on, it will use both crafting CPUs at the same time to basically speed up the crafting process. I don't know exactly how to demonstrate that, but the crafting coprocessors do not cost any extra channels. See, we're only using 1 channel here, and that's from this. So it's probably a good idea to just throw them on any of your crafting units anyway. And I doubt they take much more power. When you're at this point of the game, power's not really too big of an issue usually. Our bigger thing is we dug out a room down here to kind of do some processing on, some automated processing. And we had some of the stuff kind of like laid over here, and it was all kinds of janky and weird, and it was a very temporary setup. It did work, but yeah, very temporary. So we do have an elevator set up for this right here, so we're going to jump down. And alright, here currently, obviously it's not cosmetically done, but here is our automated processing room at the moment. And you see these machines aren't even fully upgraded. So here's, we made a second advanced smelting factory, but this one's not even upgraded into a factory yet. It also does not have any upgrades in here. This one does. These are maxed out. 8 speed, 8 energy. So how this works and what we've got down here is we have we have 2 enrichment chambers, 2 smelters, 2 crushers, our osmium compressor, and then a second metallurgic infuser. And all these for the basic ones, the advanced smelting factory, the metallurgic infuser, the advanced enrichment factory, and the advanced crushing factory, those are all maxed out. All the speed upgrades, all the energy upgrades are in them. The new ones are not. Enrichment chamber, crusher, and then the smelter. Those don't have any upgrades at all in them yet. I don't think this really has much in it either. No, it doesn't. So I'll get the osmium compressor upgrade as well. But the point of this room is this place is where a lot of our automated processing recipes will now occur. So I'm going to take you kind of behind the scenes of this. You see we have our cable coming from upstairs. We have our dense smart cable here for 32 channels. We have 7 here, and then 4 coming off here. So you see, this is our metallurgic infuser right outside right there, which I walked the completely wrong way to see. Oh, you can see it right here. And this is telling it basically all these different recipes. So we told it like 8 enriched iron with a compressed carbon gets... Oh, 8 enriched iron is created with 1 compressed carbon and 8 iron ingots. And the way I had this set up, this took me a while to get these recipes to work properly. And I was actually really happy when I did figure it out, because I've never tried to automate some of this stuff before. But basically, we have this interface set up to this chest. So it will input these items into the chest. So like the enriched alloy is 1 compressed redstone and 8 iron ingots. So it will take the compressed redstone and 8 iron ingots and it will put them in this chest. Then we have item conduit going into our metallurgic infuser. We have 1 going below and 1 into the left side of it. So if you look at our side configuration, we have left side is purple and the one below for input. So when you look at this, the purple slot right here, the infused, this is where the compressed carbon goes, the compressed redstone, all that. So that's the infused spot. And then here's our input. And then for output, we have on the right-hand side, energy is coming from the back, that's the green here. Output's on the right-hand side, and that is this other item conduit right here. Oh, come on, game. There we go. Okay, so once those are done, it outputs them. They go through this line right here, over here, and up into this chest right here. It goes through the conduit into the chest, and then there's an import bus here to pull it back into the system. And then, of course, that gets where it needs to go. The crushers, the enrichment factories, and the smelters, these are set up to automatically input to their left and right sides respectively, that dump the items into the chest when they're done being placed. And we try to keep this as unintrusive as possible in this room. That's why, except where I had to, there's like no cables showing anywhere in here. So it's all just done behind the scenes. So like right here, we have our 2 ME interfaces underneath. So yeah, we told it how to create glass out of 1 sand in there. We told it to take our steel blend that we created from, you know, the enriched iron and compressed carbon. We told it how to create the steel from the steel blend. We told it how to cook skystone blocks with skystone, and we told it how to make draconium with draconium dust. The crushers and the enrichment factory is the biggest reason I need to get 2 of these. So let's look at one of these. So here's the enrichment factory, and this is how we get black quartz. We told it how to make flint. We told it how to get Certus quartz crystal with Certus quartz ore, lapis with lapis ore, and nether quartz with nether quartz ore. The other enrichment factory has a few more recipes. So this is where we taught this how to create the compressed redstone. We taught how to create carbon, coal, diamond. We taught how to create charged Certus quartz out of the charged ore. And then redstone out of the redstone ore. I'm not sure where that water sound is coming from. I'll have to look into that in between episodes. Then our crusher here, we taught how to create pulverized coal. We taught how to create osmium dust, Certus quartz dust. We taught how to create sand from gravel. This other one, we taught how to create gravel from cobblestone, and also how to create silicon from sand. Then we have our pulverized iron, pulverized gold, and fluix dust. The reason some of these are split up is so it can use them both simultaneously. So like we could take our cobblestone and run it in here and it creates gravel. While the cobblestone's still running, the gravel can immediately come over here and start getting processed into sand. So that way they're just not waiting for each other. And again, there's an import bus in the back of this to bring them back into the system. This is our osmium compressor over here. It only has one recipe right now, which is just teaching it how to make refined obsidian ingots using one osmium ingot and one refined obsidian dust. I don't know if it's an exact recipe, and it could hang up later, but for now it seems that one osmium is enough liquid osmium to create one ingot. So that's kind of why I just set the recipe up that way and left it as is. Okay, let me take you back upstairs. Oh yeah, I'm used to going up again right there, and we can't yet. So I'm going to show you real quick all of the stuff we have in here currently. Yeah, we're sorting by number of items. So we have 1,400 draconium. We have just a insane amount of ore that our drills have dug up. That's not even processed. There's 500 more draconium right there. You can see we have a good amount of these crystals. 800 litherite, 400 rhodium, 400 chironite. So just an absolutely absurd amount of stuff if we need it for whatever reason. And let me take you to the craftable section. This is all the stuff our system knows how to automatically create now. We have taught it all these recipes, laid them out on the table just like we showed in the previous... Well, it was actually episode 28, I believe, where we showed how to do crafting recipes and processing recipes both. And so, yeah, this is all the stuff our system can make automatically for us right now. So we have quite a lot of stuff made, and we're going to get more. Now, in the meantime, though, we're going to end up going over our time limit today, because there's one or two more things I want to cover before we end this episode. So I need... That's a storage bus. I need a P2P tunnel, which I thought I had a couple of those, but maybe I don't. Oh yeah, I do. Okay. In our backpack. Okay. I'm going to show real quick why these are important and how they work, because it is how we were able to revolutionize our system so far. So, as you know, as we kind of explained, your AE system normally is limited to 8 channels for the most part on the smart cable. So, and also the glass cable is also 8 channels. And then the dense cable, yes, it's 32 when it comes off of this ME controller. But this dense cable, as you might remember, is extremely expensive to create. Especially if you're like considering snaking it around your entire base. Because it's 4 covered cable per section of dense cable. And that's 1 piece of glass cable and wool, again, per section. So it would add up extremely quickly for how much cable you'd go through and the resources required to make it. So honestly, it wasn't worth it. But this is where P2P tunnels come in, and this is why we have these on here. Only 2 of these are currently active, but I'll show kind of how they work and how they're used. So, alright, what the P2P tunnel does is it compresses the channels down to 1 channel, and it lets you bring them out somewhere else. So I know that's... It took me a long time to figure these out, so I'm going to try to really go in depth and explain this real quick. So, alright, as we had said, each face of this ME controller on each side of this is 32 channels. That's 32 channels. This thing is over here. So, normally you need like a dense cable to access it, like we are right here. And that's what gives this all its 32 channels. What these P2P tunnels do is they also can access these 32 channels. So, and then what they do is they travel through your network and they come out somewhere else. And they're much cheaper. So, I could kind of demonstrate this probably. I can kind of show it off over here, even though it's not necessary. I'm going to end up removing this, but this is just to demonstrate. So let me... I don't have any dense cable either, unfortunately. So what you do is you take this memory card, which this is fairly cheap. It's just 2 iron, 2 gold, redstone, and calculation processor. You go to one of your P2P tunnels, and you shift right-click. You see it says new device configuration created and copied. And then you come to your other P2P tunnel, the one you want to be the output, and you right-click, and it said loaded device configuration. So now, what this essentially did is all 32 channels from this P2P tunnel are going in our network through here, down this cable, all the way to this other P2P tunnel. And this is 32 channels, even though I can't really show it off. This is 32. Now, here's the amazing thing. This only uses 1 channel, this P2P tunnel. So it takes all those channels, sends them through the network. And you see we're only at 2 out of 8 channels right here because we're going down this way and over here. And it puts out the 32 over here. So it lets you basically take all 32 channels, move them across your network to somewhere else without the need for all that huge amount of dense cable. And all of that using only 1 channel through your network. So if I take this off, even though this is definitely 32 channels, I could get a full 32 out of this. Okay, good. If you look, we were at 2 channels up here, and we should be at 1 now. We are. So, yeah, we basically compressed 32 channels down to 1 channel. And I'm going to take that up because I need to put that down. We weren't going to put that there, so there we go. So that's where I'll show you we've got this. Oh, and to clear the memory card, because you have to do this for each individual one, just hold it in your hand and shift right click and see it says memory card cleared. And that lets you use it again. So we only have 2 of these active right now. The other 6 are currently not doing anything. And of course, I could add more of these to the other corners. I could add them to the interior. I could add them underneath to the sides. So you can kind of see, done correctly, all these P2P tunnels give you an absolutely insane amount of channels at your disposal for all the different auto-crafting different recipes you're going to need. Sorry, I'm going to show this here. So we have one of our P2P tunnels right here. Goes through this cable, and you see we're only using 2 channels. 2 out of 8 channels right here. That's it. And it goes over here, through the ceiling, and it comes out right here. You see the texture and color is the same, and it comes out right here. We have our 1 dense cable. And you see this is holding 10 of 32 channels. This is holding 10 items. But all in a cable that normally only holds 8. And when you look at it, it's only using 2. And the second one is from this. So yeah, we compressed all those channels down to 1. The other one, the network continues. It goes down here, down the wall over there. And that comes out back here. And see, here's our other P2P tunnel right here, the output. And you see this one we're using 11 channels as well. So I think you have to have this dense cable here for the output to get all 32 channels. But then you can split it off and have just a smart cable going each way. You can lay out more dense cable if you want, whatever you want. I just have smart cable here again to break down the channels, but then I have it as just glass cable the rest of the way because I just need to see here how many channels we're using. So yeah, 11 channels there. And then the 10 there. So that's 21 channels all being used in 2 channels of our network. Now I believe one of the only limiting factors on this is you can't nest P2P tunnels within themselves. So like I can't take this P2P tunnel and send it through another P2P tunnel. That doesn't work, I don't think. There is a limit to this, but it's a pretty high limit, and you can already see this is an insane amount of power and machines and interfaces you can have set up simultaneously here. So yeah, that's kind of where we've gotten. I did clean this up a little bit. I moved this into the wall. That's the biggest thing I've been doing, is just running around teaching this thing new recipes, setting up the room over here for the automated processing of stuff. And this actually took me a lot longer than I thought it would. This was just a lot of work, just running back and forth, setting this up, going upstairs, making crafting recipes, dropping them in the interface here. All these blank patterns. I had said that you're going to need to make a lot of blank patterns, and yeah, I wasn't kidding. I've probably used about 50 of them so far. Yeah, probably easily around that much. So, definitely took a lot of work to get this done, and then had to run the recipes down here, and then put them in there, then test if they worked, all that stuff. So let me come up here, and we can request some items here. Let me go to craftable. Let's make 8 of these structure tier 2 blocks. So you see, it's got to do all this to create these, and I taught it all the necessary recipes for it, but yeah, I'll show you it kind of doing this. Look at that. Just fairly quickly going through the process of grinding up anything it needs for this, and then just crafting everything, and then boom, it's done. And we just made 8 of those in the time. Well, you've seen me make the tier 1 versions. Those were tier 2 structure frames, but you've seen me make the tier 1, and just laying out everything it needs, all of the interconnects and everything else, the modifier components. It took a long time, and we just did that in like less than 30 seconds with this. So that's going to be... I was going to show an upgrade for our laser drills this episode, the level 2s, but we're already at 37 minutes, and yeah, that would take me a few minutes. Oh, here you guys are. We get a ton of these guys during rainstorms because they get pulled in by this ender tether, because it stops their teleportation, drags them there, and in rain they teleport like crazy to get away from the rain. So yeah, we just get a lot of these guys come in here during the rain. That sound always kind of annoys me, even though it's kind of creepy too. The sound from the Enderman. And I really don't know why it plays that when they don't see you, because I never technically made eye contact with them. Alright, probably the last thing I'll show off before I end the episode here is what we do at the moment for emptying our drills out. Because especially our fast one, it doesn't take long for it to fill up at the moment. So what we do is we take our lovely little cardboard box that we've used before, wrap it, break it, put a new diamond chest on there in the meantime, and then we take this one, we go back to our base, go down twice, we have an import bus right here, we just put the box there, shift right click to get it off, and then it will pull all of this into the inventory of our system. And we have a couple acceleration cards in there, that's why this is going so fast. So yeah, as you can see, this is a fairly efficient method for the moment of getting this stuff in here. I would eventually like to have an import bus over in the drill area that would take care of this on its own as they mine stuff, but we're not quite at that point yet. Oh yeah, and I had said we had a lot of mica currently. Yeah, we have 253 mica. I am pretty sure that we do not need any more of that the rest of our playthrough. For now, I had the chest from this drill over here, that void resource miner. Yeah, here's all the other stuff it dug up before I ended up pulling it finally. I never ended up having to empty this into the system, but just all kinds of stuff. We have diorite, granite, stone, andesite, podzol. I think there's mycelium. Yeah, mycelium, netherrack, clay, endstone of all things, sponges, soul sand, a ton of terracotta. There's way too many colors of terracotta in this game. Then marble, limestone, and basalt. So yeah, I'm glad we kind of pulled that when we did, because I don't want to clog my AE system with these items for right now, because I don't think it's necessary. Alright, that's going to be it for this episode, I think. I hope I decently explained how we've advanced the system so far. And next time we do expand our P2P network again, I'm not quite ready for that yet. I don't know where we're going to move it to next, but next time we do that, I will do that on camera as well. Even though, like I said, I hope I kind of explained decently enough how they work and how to set them up. But if not, I'll do it again in an episode or two when I get another system in here, because we're going to be getting another crafting array in here, probably another one over here. We're going to need stuff for the Draconic Evolution place. Just, we have a lot of work to do still, but we definitely got a lot of work done. And so, yeah, I'm extremely pleased with our progress on this. This is the most complicated AE system I've ever created. I've never done anything with P2P tunnels before. I've never had them working successfully, never even understood how they worked before. But now we do, and it seems to be working great. And at the moment, we could make 4 more of these, or we have 6 of these that are unused. So 2 there and all 4 of these. So just with what I've got, I could have a much more powerful network than I currently do. So alright, I think that's going to about do it for this episode. We are well past our time limit, but this was a lot of stuff to cover. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you all next time. Have a great day.